What's up, everybody? This is Julie with another episode of my favorite episode of. Today, we have Marissa joining us. So, Marissa, thanks for coming on.
Oh my gosh, you are so welcome. I'm so excited to have another Kelly in my life.
I know. I am the best one, too, so.
Oh, I believe it. Although that's not a race I'd be that braggy about winning.
That's so true. That's so true.
No, I'm kidding. I love all my Kellys.
So today we are talking about The Office, which I am so excited about. If you are a close friend of mine or a relative, you know that I absolutely love The Office. So thank you, Marissa, for picking an episode from The Office. We're going to be talking about episode 9 of season 4, which is the dinner party. Just a quick note that Matt told me that it was episode 13, and I was really confused because it wasn't. I was like, maybe there's 2 and I don't remember, but why would they be in the same season? It was 9.
Yeah, you can't get good help these days. That's the first problem.
I know.
And the second problem is he has no idea what he's talking about. He literally was like, this was the one with a sports show or so. I was very confused.
Matt, I think Matt might get fired after this, but it's okay.
Yeah, it was really hard to pick one episode. I think that was my biggest struggle.
Yeah, I could agree because there's so many good episodes of this show. I mean, this is like an unpopular opinion, but I think every episode's great. So,
me too.
I think I would struggle to pick a favorite episode as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I like your choice.
Oh,
I have a cough drop in, just by the way, because I have a really bad cold. So if anyone hears me just like, with candy in my mouth, I'm not eating the candy that Matt is crushing. I have a cough drop in my mouth. So sorry about that.
No problem.
So let's jump into it. Why? Well, first, as sad as this may be, there are people that probably don't watch The Office. So do you want to give a quick summary of the show and this specific episode?
Yeah, sure. God, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine life without this show. If anybody doesn't listen, please stop everything you're doing and go watch every season straight
exactly.
through.
Yep, agreed.
So it's a show about a group of employees at like a little tiny paper company, and it's based on a UK show. It's shot very like documentary style, and it's fucking awesome. And this episode, I have to say, this wasn't my first choice, but going back, this is literally one of my all-time favorite episodes because it combines the cringy. I think it takes the cringiness of The Office to the extreme, which totally sometimes does. I don't always love, but I did in this one.
Yeah, The Office has a tendency to make you like extremely uncomfortable at times, like super cringe scenarios that you're just like, oh my God. And like, it's usually Michael that's causing it. But there's just so many times where you're just like, I want to die watching this.
Yeah, and it's weird because I feel like this episode is particularly strong on that, and it's almost not even only Michael's fault in this one. It's like Jan definitely brings in the crazy too. But yeah, this one takes place at a small dinner party that the boss has, and he invites some of his employees over, and with his girlfriend, who is as crazy as he is, if not more so.
Yeah, I would say that she's probably worse.
She is. But I love, what is it, Melora Hardin, right?
Don't ask me. I am really bad at actors and actresses' real names.
Yes.
But yeah, we'll go with it. Yep, that's her name.
Yep. Yes, it was Melora. I double-checked it just in case.
Okay.
But yeah, Melora Hardin is amazing on this show. I think she has this great arc as a character where, and I don't know, I think they do this to a lot of the actors and characters on the show, is that they make them so crazy by the end that they're almost like not even human. But I particularly enjoy her fall into like absolute madness through this show.
Yep. Yeah, she, especially in this episode, her craziness level is hilarious. It just like the episode starts out really strong. The beginning scene is all of the employees and Michael Scott in the office, and he's acting like they have to work overtime due to their headquarters saying that they have to do overtime, basically. And he tricks Jim Halpert into admitting that he doesn't have plans for the evening. And then once Jim says that he has nothing going on because he has to work overtime, Michael then pretends to call corporate and tell them that this is completely unfair to do to his employees and they're just not doing it anymore, and he sends everybody home.
Yep.
Pretty genius. Then, I mean, honestly.
I know if you ever needed a way to have friends forced into hanging out with you, which I totally get. I mean, I often have to force Matt Kelly into hanging out with me through podcasting. Yeah. It's actually why I started a podcast, just to force friends into hanging out with me.
I think Matt is in the same boat.
And make new friends and force them to hang out with me too. But yeah, so Andy, he also invites Andy and Angela, who are dating at the time. But Dwight's not allowed. Dwight tries to invite himself, but initially he tells him no.
I know. I love when he's getting interviewed and he's like, am I upset that Michael said I couldn't come? And then like he gives like his like normal Dwight face and then he just breaks down crying.
And I would argue his showing up with his former babysitter might be one of my favorite things that happens in the episode.
Easily. So before we keep going into the episode, let me ask you something. What is the best excuse you can think of that you ever gave someone to get out of plans?
Oh my God, that my kid has field hockey. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally messing with you. My best excuse, God, I'm actually a really bad liar. So I tend to like put on way too many details. And then I wind up like shooting myself in the foot. Yep. So I'll be like, I'm going to go to a reunion tour of Belle Biv DeVoe, and they're going on at exactly 7:50, followed by Boys to Men, and then I'm going to go to a bar because I'm really hip and I don't go home after concerts anymore. And then people will be like, okay, Marissa, that's you just could have said no thanks. You know, like
I know. So
I get it.
You really stress about the lie that you're going to come up with to get out of something. Like, it's so much easier when someone texts you and says like, hey, what are you doing tonight? Like, do you want to like grab a bite? And then you can sit there and stare at the text and be like, what can I say that I have to do that I can't grab a bite? But for some reason, when it's in person, like, it's like, well, my brother's girlfriend's sister's boyfriend's mom is sick and I promised that I would see her, and you're just like stuttering and the person's just like staring at you with like this face where they're just like, shut the fuck up, you are lying and I know it. But then they're just like, oh, I get it, no, it's fine, maybe another time. But it's like so stressful when you're trying to come up with an excuse not to do something in person.
It is like my social anxiety gets all up in my way when I'm trying to do that.
Kudos to Michael for his way of catching Jim not having plans, because that's pretty genius. I don't. See, my whole thing is like, I'm very superstitious. So if I'm like, oh, like I can't, my brother broke his foot, like, then I just feel like I just wished a broken foot upon Matt and he's going to like trip leaving work and break his foot. Like, I'm like, I get scared of like coming up with a lie of like someone being hurt or like, you know, like maybe I'm just like dark, but sometimes I'm like, maybe like saying someone's sick. Yeah. And then it's just like, oh, like I can't say that like my grandmom's sick or like my grandmom fell, because I don't want something like that to happen. But sometimes my mind gets dark like that, where it's like, they'll feel bad for me if I just make up that my grandmom fell.
I'm the same way. I'm always convinced I'm going to like wish something true by lying about it. I actually always just go with my husband. Like, my husband's not home, so I have to watch the kid. Like, it's actually, having kids is that like great in that way, because I always have like an automatic out.
No, yeah, that I totally agree. Once you have kids, it's like easy peasy. Like,
totally.
My kid's sick. All right, your kid gets sick. I mean, sorry, but they're always sick, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly. So I'm not even really lying, right? Yeah. And I, like, even when they're like in college, I'm gonna be like, oh man, I gotta get home the kid. Gotta watch the kids. Somebody's gotta do it.
Yeah, I mean, so right now I am saving up for my wedding because I'm getting married next October. So that's usually my go-to now, is that like we literally have no money. Like, we can't spend money. And it works. It works. And it's also like a cry for help that maybe someone will make me a GoFundMe page.
It's funny. I seem to remember B. Kelly using that line a lot with all of us.
He still does. He allegedly can't come to Christmas because he's getting married in April.
Oh.
He's skipping out on a holiday. I want Brian, I hope you're listening to this. Mom's crying. Mom is crying right now. Just kidding.
You traumatized your family, dude.
Yep, sure did. Anyways,
I don't know how you sleep.
Exactly. I don't know how he does either. All right, so back to the episode. So Michael gets them all there to his house. It is Jim and Pam, which are a couple. Michael and Jan, who are now living together. They're going to Michael and Jan's house, which is actually Michael's house that Jan moved into. And Angela and Andy. So it's the 6 of them. Really odd group, but they all work together, so whatever. The whole entire scene of Jan and Michael giving them the tour of the house is so good. Like, the one thing that when I was watching this episode, I've seen this episode hundreds of times, and I don't know why I didn't pick up on this before, but Jan's showing them all the different rooms in the house, and she has an office with like a desk, and Michael like makes comment of like it's never been touched, like whatever. And then she has like this room full of candles because she's trying to start her own candle business. And all of them are like gagging at the smell. And I noticed that like Jim pokes his head out the door to like get air. And that made me laugh really hard.
And when I like when she's like, and when I get stressed out, I just come in here and I sniff my candles. Like, it's just hilarious.
Yeah. And then she's like, smell this one. And Jim's like, ooh, fire. And she's like, bonfire.
Fire. James Bond.
Yeah. She's like, James Bonfire.
Michael Scott.
It's so good.
It is. And then like when they go in the bedroom and they have the camera up.
Yeah. And she's like, I thought I told you to straighten up.
I love too, and I was teasing Matt about this before the episode. I love that they call each other babe so much that it's like horrifying. You're
oh
like,
my
babe,
gosh. Because
babe.
there's actually couples like that in real life. Which is like crazy. Like my fiance Kenny, he calls me babe all the time. But like not to that extreme. It's just almost like I'm not sure if he knows my name. We've been together for 6 years. And nice. I think the only time I've hear him like say my name is when he refers to me to somebody else or when he's like angry. Like, so
yeah, that's true. My husband never says my name when
ever. You really think about it, like he's always like babe, can you do this? Like, love you, babe. Like, it's always babe.
We are guilty of babe too, like as the go-to, and so like ever since this episode I'm always hyper aware, and we like joke around, we'll be like, babe, you need to, babe, that's so good, babe. Like, you know.
I know you do have to be aware, but this one's like this in this episode, it's extremely excessive.
Oh my god, yeah.
And for sure it's definitely like, in my opinion, like foreshadowing how extremely unhappy they are, so they like are forcing it almost like, we love each other and I want to call you babe.
Yeah, like even when they're fighting at the end, I love when he's like, yes, babe. Like, it's just, it's hysterical. My favorite part too in the tour is when he shows them how he sleeps on the little bench at the end of the bed.
Oh, I
like,
know.
He's like, yeah.
See, that's one of those things too, where it's like, it makes me laugh, but it's also like, oh, like that. And Jim's like, that looks very narrow and short. And Jen's like, oh no, he can fit. And he's like curled up in a ball laying on it.
I know, and it's like this, I kind of love how bad you feel for Michael in this episode, because I always say that like he has such a great like pathos that like brings you back to him. As horrible as he is, you do love him still.
Yeah.
And he is kind of sweet at times. And like, I feel so bad for him in this episode. She's such a bitch to him.
Yeah. I mean, she is a bitch to him the entire series.
Yeah.
No doubt.
That's fair. Yeah.
And I love and he just loves her. He loves her.
Well, I think he doesn't. I think he just needs to be with, like, he needs
to have
feel,
somebody. Yeah. He wants to feel some sort of emotion towards a woman.
That's why it's fun when like Holly comes along, because you're like, wow, she's so cringy too. They're perfect.
Oh my gosh, they really are perfect.
They are. It's really cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. The tour is great. And then when I love the little side plot of Jan hinting that Pam used to go out with Michael.
I know. It's hilarious. And it's funny because at first, like, you think that she's just like being crazy because it's like another woman. And then like when they're in the kitchen talking, like when it's just like the girls' time and they're talking, and she's like, I forget what she says, like Michael does, and she's like, you would know, Pam, like Michael told me how you guys dated for a few years, and like Pam just gets so flustered.
And I love that Angela just like puts like fuel on the fire, like she's just like,
she's like, you know what, now that you mention that, you do kind of stare at him at work.
Yeah. And Jan's just like nodding, looking at her. It's great. And then I love like, because I feel like this is such a relatable moment. Like, have you ever been to a party where you're like so fucking hungry and you know it? Like, and I love the part where she's like, oh, it just has to braise for like 8 hours. And Pam's like, I don't care what she thinks. I just want something to eat. Like, that's me at every party. Like, I just want to eat.
Yeah, she was like, it just has to braise for 3 hours. And she was like, 3 hours from like 3 hours ago or 3 hours from now? It's so true. It's like how it is on like Thanksgiving. You know how on Thanksgiving, at least like in my family, we were like like we would be starving by like 11 o'clock. And you'd be like, I'd be like, Matt, go like Google if Burger King's open. Like, I'm so hungry and we're not eating till 5 o'clock. And you get like shunned. Like we would get shunned by our mom. Like, you're not eating until the guests get here at 5. And then you're just like starving. Like the one year, it's tragic, but the one year I was so hungover because it was Thanksgiving Eve and I was 22 and it was cool to go out on Thanksgiving Eve. Definitely not cool anymore in my opinion, but I was so hungover. We didn't have any food. So I was sitting on the couch dipping cheese sticks into hot sauce.
That's amazing. You might be onto something.
It was not good. But I needed something. And like for some reason when I'm hungover, like spicy foods do it for me. So in my head, like I was like, oh, this is genius. I'll be in great shape by 5 o'clock. Man. So yeah, it's actually the worst when that happens. But I don't know. Sometimes you get to a party and they have like a bomb like pepperoni and cheese tray and you're just like, I can work with this. Even if the main course isn't ready. Tear up the pepperoni and cheese tray.
Oh, see, I get even more anxious when there's just a pepperoni and cheese played out because I'm like really hungry and I'm worried I'm going to overdo it on the pepperoni and cheese. People are going to judge. So it's all just very stressful for me.
Yeah. Factor in some pretzel nuggets in your salad.
That's true. That's true. Right. Yeah, no, that's an amazing, like, there's just so much in this episode. That's what I love about it.
So obviously it comes out that Jan and Michael have like serious issues and they're making everyone uncomfortable because they're just like taking shots at one another of like what the other one does that bothers the other person while calling them babe. So they're trying to make it seem like it's not a problem.
Yeah.
I feel like we've all been in a situation where like a couple starts bickering in front of you and you're just like, okay, well, I'm gonna go, and thank you so much for having us. Like, so can you think of a time where you were like in that scenario where someone was like another couple was like just like taking shots at each other in front of you, and you're just like awkwardly standing there like, this dip's great.
Oh, totally. And I feel like one of the other things that sucks about parenting is you have to hang out with other parents who aren't necessarily your friends. So it happens all the time. And I'm going to be honest here. I think I've been that couple on a couple occasions.
Oh, I have too. I'm guilty.
Like I am so guilty of it because, I mean, we've been together for so long now that like, it's very rare that we fight, but when we do, we're very blunt with each other. Or like, even maybe like uncomfortable to our friends level, like fuck you-ness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'll be like, well, that's cool because I hate your fucking face. And I'll like walk away. And in our heads, it was funny and fine. But in everybody else's heads around us, they're like, how could they possibly talk to each other that way? You know what I mean? Like,
this couple is fucked up.
And like Jim has such a great line because he's like, when they're playing their games, which are so funny, he's like, it's like they're both playing a game of who can make everybody the most uncomfortable, and they're both winning. Like it's such a great.
I know, and it's funny because, like, from Jim and Pam's standpoint, like and I feel like anyone that watches it, like everyone's just like, oh yeah, like Jim and Pam for life, like they're so great. So like they have like little to no issues. I mean, until like a couple seasons in when he has his job change. But like in that scenario, it's just like you can tell that Jim and Pam are like horrified because they just think that they are like the shit and they have no problems whatsoever.
And like Angela and Andy are so fucking whacked out that it's like when he tries to get them to buy the candles, and Andy's like, thought about it and I'm in. Like they're just so like, Andy's just such a cartoon character. He's not even like a real person. So it's like, it's perfect to have him as the only other people to turn to. Cause like in that situation, Jim and Pam would totally want other people to relate to. And instead Angela, like when they, One of my favorite lines is when she's like, "Yep, I'm the devil," and he's like, "She is. I'm in hell. This is my hell." And it's just like, shouldn't joke about that. Like, they are just so in their own heads and deluded that they don't even notice how bad and uncomfortable this entire thing is.
I know. And Andy is so cringeworthy. He's such a cringeworthy character. Like, what did he say in the very beginning when he gets there? Like, he says something about, like, Pam being used to eating big tuna all the time.
Yeah. She's tired of tuna. She's probably tired.
You probably eat tuna every day. Like, something, like, so uncomfortable.
Yeah,
it's just like,
so uncomfortable.
It's like something that, like, the creepy, like, great uncle that you see once a year would say to you on Christmas.
And then I love the part where he gives her the one flower. Like,
and she's like, what am I supposed to do with this?
She's like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with this? Yeah. Like, she treats him so terribly throughout their entire relationship, yet it's still so funny to me. Probably because I'm a horrible human being, but I'm just so delighted by it.
Yeah.
And then in the middle of all this, fucking Dwight shows up with his former babysitter.
Who's like 90 years old.
And he has his own wine glasses and food.
Oh my God, yes. They're like all waiting to eat, and it just like shoots to Dwight, and he's eating like a chicken thigh.
And the beet salad.
Yeah. All right, so another question for you.
Man.
Top 4 worst people you can think of being stuck at a dinner party with.
Oh, God. So this is awkward. One of them's in the room. No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry, Matt.
No, I'm totally kidding, Matt. I feel like you would save me at a dinner party. God, I don't even know. I avoid anything related to a dinner party. Like, when I think about the idea of eating with coworkers outside of work, it horrifies me. Like, I go far out of my way to avoid any social interactions with
I'm really weird about people eating with people that I'm not super comfortable with, because I feel like I can eat like a monster sometimes. And like I get like super self-conscious of like having food in my teeth, or like, and like someone not telling me. So are you okay, Matt? Matt's like hysterically laughing, and I don't know why, but moving on. Let me just finish my thought. But no, I mean, I'm totally down to drink with coworkers, and my coworkers know that, but dinner parties with coworkers don't sound ideal. It just seems like forced friendship. Like, then you have to like force your significant other to like mingle with the male coworker that you work with, or like the woman coworker's husband, and you don't even really know them, and it's just so forced. I can't imagine it being comfortable. I'm really glad that no one has ever asked me to go out to dinner with their significant other from work. Yeah, no, I agree. When I was writing that down, like, I was like, I feel like that's a very hard question. Like, I guess you could probably throw like celebrities in there that, like, you know, you think you know and you hate, but you don't like. I'm just gonna say, I would never want to have a dinner party with Katherine Heigl. I just hate her for some reason.
Oh my God, me neither.
Like,
she seems like the worst.
She absolutely does. I would not want to go to dinner with Katherine Heigl.
If I could choose one celebrity I absolutely don't want to go to dinner with, it would probably be Eli Roth. He's a horror director. Yeah, I just hate his face.
Yeah, there's just some people that you just hate, and it's probably really sad when it's celebrities, because they could be good people. Although I heard Katherine Heigl's a bitch, but
I've heard the same.
Yeah. So,
and of all the Office characters, if I could go to a dinner party with any of them, this is going to be, I think, one of my more unusual choices. But I think I'd really love spending time with Erin.
I thought you were going to say Creed for some reason. That was like,
I wouldn't turn down Creed either.
Yeah, if it was like a one-on-one from The Office. Romantically, it would be Jim, because for some reason I just think Jim is so hot.
Oh,
I think like
who doesn't?
I think it's just like his character of Jim just makes him so hot. Friend wise, I would probably choose. Oh my God, Matt! I was gonna say Stanley. I really think it would be Stanley. I think I would pick Stanley.
What?
Yeah, I feel like
I feel like he's such a curmudgeon.
I feel like I could relate to him. I think it would be Stanley. I can't believe it was like you read my mind. Like, I was sitting here and I was like thinking Stanley, and then I was trying to like I was actually picturing the office in my head, like what their actual office looks like, and like going around the room, like, of like, all right, who sits where? I don't think I would pick Erin. I think Erin is so annoying.
Oh,
yeah, I do like her as an actress, though. Like, I do like her.
Yeah, I think I'm probably, like, in my head secretly picking Kimmy Schmidt. But yeah.
Exactly. Erin just doesn't do it for me. Stanley, but although you can judge the shit out of me because apparently Stanley does it for me. So
no, like I said, I'm almost like afraid of him. I feel like if I worked with someone, like I feel like the people I work with who are like Stanley, I avoid them because they make me nervous. Like they're just cranky too. Like Kevin, I could definitely hang out with, and like I feel like Oscar, I'd be friends, like, but I would never. Angela,
Kevin, I could totally eat with and not feel judged of the way I eat.
Same, yes.
Like Kevin definitely has like food all over his face after he eats. It's just, it's inevitable. It's inevitable.
He's the guy who's not going to judge you when you like order the dessert too.
Yeah, exactly. He'd get it.
So maybe Kevin.
Yeah, maybe Kevin would be the most comfortable person. It definitely wouldn't be Michael.
No, I would not. I don't think I'd like Michael in real life.
Yeah. Can you imagine having a boss like Michael? Have you ever had a boss like Michael? Because I know they exist somewhere out there.
I think so. I did have a boss who was I think he might have had like a personality crisis disorder or of some sort. And he could be really erratic. Like one day he could be like the nicest, goofiest, funniest guy. And the next day he would be like literally like walking by desks and swiping everything off of it in anger. And not that Michael's like that, but just like the erraticness of it all, where you never knew what you were getting at any given moment. I feel like that's the part of Michael that makes me nervous.
Yeah, like the prankster.
Right, or like all of a sudden he's going to get... Like, I just feel like whenever things don't go right for him, he takes it out on the people around him.
Yeah. I don't... So when I worked at a restaurant, I had managers like that were like more of like the prankster kind. Like actually the one time... I was closing at work and I guess I was like, I was a hostess and I was seating a table at the time and they took my car keys and unlocked my car. And then when I was leaving at 10:30, I'm like a psycho where like I'm that person that like when I open the door and the lights come on, I check my back seat to make sure that no one's back there that's going to murder me. And then I get in my car.
Who doesn't do that?
Yeah, right. I think everyone should do that. So I noticed that my light didn't come on, but it was an older car. So I was like, oh, fuck, my battery died. So I like sat in my front seat to like try to turn the keys in the ignition. And one of the guys that I worked with was hiding in my back seat and he grabbed me. Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like, fuck up, okay? I started like hysterically crying, screaming. Like I wish I had like pepper spray. When I got out of my car, like all of my one like main boss was like on the ground laughing. Like they thought it was like hilarious. So like that, and then it wasn't like a serious job. It was like a restaurant job. So it's a little different than Michael, but like they were always about like pranking each other, which was like fine when you weren't on the back end of it. But when you were the one getting pranked, it was awful.
That is like the most mean-spirited prank I think I've ever heard in my life. Like, yeah,
I know. So you better believe, like, if my light doesn't come on now, I'm terrible. Just calling an Uber.
So fucking terrible.
Yeah. So Brett, I hope you're listening to this.
Yeah. Hey, Brett, fuck off. That wasn't funny. You're a terrible prankster.
Exactly. The meanest prank I've ever gotten hit with.
I actually got in trouble at work just last year because we pranked a coworker by having them. They thought they were like duct taping one of our cars, but we pulled it off that they just duct taped a random person's car, and the girl whose car it was a newer teacher, and she said that we were bullying her.
Oh no!
It was so great. I thought it was a hilarious prank.
Yeah,
not duct tape, saran wrapped.
Yeah, I think they actually did that at my old job too. They saran wrapped someone's car. I think the one time they actually somehow put like glitter or something in where the car blows out air.
Oh my gosh.
So like when they turned on their air, like the glitter just went all over the car.
Oh, that's such a nightmare.
I know.
Oh, that would piss me off.
I mean, they were good at pranking.
Your coworkers sound like they were a joy.
Yeah, but the only thing they ever got me with, they used to like prank call the hostess stand and put in like big orders that I would like enter in that took me like 25 minutes, and then they'd be like, gotcha, and I'd be like, fuck you guys, seriously. But like the car one was the scariest. So this wasn't
pranking so much as just people who bullied the fuck out of you.
Yeah, exactly. Although I can't even call it bullying because they did it to everybody. So So, I mean, but yeah, I'm traumatized. So, back to the episode. I mean, overall, we kind of summed it up. A majority of the episode is just the dinner party and finding out all the issues that Michael and Jan have, and everyone's just kind of awkward being there. And then at the end of the episode, the police are called. And
she throws a Dundee through his tiny TV.
His tiny plasma screen TV that he loves.
The scene where he shows them this little tiny TV that he mounted to the wall, and he's like, I could just stand here for hours and watch. Like, is the saddest thing ever. Like, Jim's face, it breaks my heart.
I know.
We also, we haven't yet talked about one of my favorite things about this episode, which is Hunter, Jan's former assistant.
Oh my gosh, and the song. CD, yes.
Yep. And it's taking every fiber of my being not to serenade you all right now. It's apparently like this entire real song, and the part that they played was only like one chunk of it.
Oh.
But I love that Jim steals the CD at the end.
Yes, I do
that
too.
They
And
play
then he puts
it in the car.
And
there's like a montage of everybody going home.
Yeah,
while that song plays.
And then another like the cringe Andy and Angela's like shows them in the car eating ice cream, and he like jumps over to like lick her ice cream, and she just gets like so disgusted, rolls down her window, and shoves the ice cream cone in the side of his car.
Oh my god. That part again, like I know she's such a horrible human being, but it makes me laugh for like 10 minutes when she does that. And then when it's so cute, like Jim and Pam eating the burgers, and he's like singing, they're like singing it to each other. Like, Oh man. Although when Jan tries to dance with Jim, to me, I don't know why, but it is literally the most awkward moment of the episode for me.
Yeah.
Because, like, what? Just, like, I just curl up into my own
He just, like,
cringiness.
refuses to get up, so she starts, like, spinning herself under his arm.
It's so awkward.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, that song, and I am not even ashamed to admit that I ironically love that song. Like, even this morning when I got up and I was preparing, I was like, that one night, like, just singing it to myself, like, while cleaning my house.
You should have made that your wedding song.
Oh, my God. If only I could have.
Yeah, you fucked up.
Oh my God, you know what? If I renew my vows, that's going to be the song.
Yes.
And our vows are going to just have the word babe every sentence.
Yes. Yeah, because and the scene with Jim and Pam in the car, they're doing the babe thing too.
Yeah, they are. They're like, babe, this is the best burger, babe. I also love like there's so many great lines in this one that like when Michael's like, first you want kids, then you don't. Do you have any snip, snap, snip, snap? Do you have any idea of the toll 3 vasectomies has on a person? Like,
I know.
It's, oh God. Or like the line where he's like, good luck paying me back on your $0 per hour budget, babe. Like, just like everything they say to each other is the best so lines. Good. Like, oh God, yeah. And then like, there are moments where I get it for Jan because he's like, when he's doing the charades and he's like, I'm on a cruise and
my name's Tom, and she's like, no names.
And he's like, oh, Katie Holmes.
Right? And then he's like, no. What it's married to? And he's like, Dawson's Creek.
Dawson's Creek, yeah. Like, it's just every line of, and that's, I think, one of the reasons why, and I admit, I just watched the show on loop all the time. Like, actually, my daughter at school a couple of weeks ago got in trouble. Not in trouble, but it was mentioned to me that she referenced The Office. They were doing, like, diversity training.
Oh my god.
And she literally referenced the episode. And she was like, oh, this is, so you guys are like Michael Scott and we're doing diversity training. And I guess the person running it took that offensively.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
Oh my god, I know, right? I was like, kid, you're my hero.
Yeah, she's not in trouble for that.
She was like rewarded.
She gets McDonald's for that.
Yeah, that's
Chick-fil-A,
what I said.
Bravo.
They were like, so your daughter referenced The Office while we were trying to do like inclusion training with the kids, and I was like, that's amazing. Yeah. I can't be mad.
You're like, way to go, honey.
Yeah, but it made me realize that like they literally know the whole plot line. My one daughter, actually, it's cute. My little one, she's always upset. She's like, why are they so mean to Toby? Like she gets upset by it.
Sometimes I get upset by it too. Like
do
sometimes
you?
it's
he's the worst.
No, I mean he's totally the worst. But like sometimes I'm just like, oh god. Like the one, I don't know why this is like etched in my brain, but the one, it's like one of the Dundies episodes, and Pam's there and she gets all wasted, and Toby's like standing at the the claw machine for like hours, and he wins her
Trying
a
to
duck.
win her the
And he wins her a duck, and then like I forget what happens. Like
she tells him that he has a kid. Yeah, but you should give it to your daughter.
Yeah, like it's just one of those really sad Matt moments.
My only Toby moment that gets me, and my husband makes fun of me all the time because he's like, they shit on him this entire show, but this is the one that bothers you, is the one where they all get the bathrobes and they're one short. So he's like, just take it from Toby. Yeah. And Toby's standing there like feeling it, and Dwight just comes and rips it out of his hands. And he's like, why? Like,
I know. Some of the things Toby. You're just like, oh, Toby.
When he buys the black unicorn doll for like $5,000 from Daryl, and Daryl's like, why? What's wrong with it? You got a problem with that doll?
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
God, this show's my all-time favorite.
I know. It's so good. It's so good. I have so you're actually my first person that I'm doing this segment with. And got to give my friend Joe some credit. This was his idea. So shout out Joe. But I looked up an article of where the Office cast is now.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about it. So.
Oh, I'm into it.
Steve Carell is still famous, and he's still in movies.
Oh, I was going to be like, where's he? Is he working at he doing all right?
He was on The Ellen Show this week. So
he's doing okay.
So he's doing okay. He's actually gray hair now and looking pretty foxy, if I do say so myself. I probably would if you tried. Moving on. So Steve Carell's still famous, whatever.
Wouldn't turn him down,
John Krasinski. He's still famous. Married to Emily Blunt. Good for him. Was just in A Quiet Place. I think they're coming out with A Quiet Place 2, and he's somehow
he does that show, Jack Ryan.
Right? Isn't he in it? What? He directs them. I know, but isn't he in the second one too? I thought he was. Maybe he wasn't. I don't know.
Have you seen the first one?
Yes. That's what I just said. I don't know how he's in the second one. I don't know. Matt, would you just shut up? Okay, so and he's Jack Ryan. I have that written down too. Still famous, whatever. Jenna Fisher has a podcast now with Angela
I love it so much.
Kinsey? Is that how you say her last name? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Called The Office Ladies. It's on every Wednesday, I believe.
Yeah, it's good stuff too.
Yeah, I'm subscribed to it. I haven't listened to it yet. But how could you not listen to it if you love The Office? So it's definitely on my list of things to do. And then she's been in some movies actually that I wasn't aware that she was in. Or I guess maybe I forgot she was in.
They've both been in a couple things here and there.
Yeah, like random things. I don't think they were like big roles. I was going to look the article back up, but I really don't care that much. And then she was in that show. Didn't write down the name of the show either, but she's like getting divorced with her husband. I think it's like living together or something. She's like getting a divorce with her husband, but that splitting up together or something like that. It was on ABC, and I'm pretty sure it got canceled. So sorry, Jenna.
Okay.
Sorry about your loss. Rainn Wilson published an autobiography called The Bassoon King. Did you guys know that?
Yep.
Oh, you knew that? Matt didn't know that. And he plays Harry Mudd in Star Trek Discovery.
That I didn't know.
I didn't know that either. You don't really see Rainn Wilson anymore.
I don't even know. No, and I've heard he's very if listening to their podcast, he's very much like a little bit of Dwight in real life.
Yeah, I could sense that totally. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not surprised at that. Kate Flannery, which is Meredith, is currently on Dancing with the Stars.
Shut the fuck up.
Yes.
Oh my God.
She's currently on Dancing with the Stars. She has a twin sister.
Wow.
Yes, and she is from Delco.
Huh.
And that wasn't a part of the article. My aunt, anytime you post anything about The Office or Kate Flannery on Facebook, she'll comment on it and say she has a twin sister and she went to St. Denis and Archbishop John Carroll with me. And on the last day of school, we got a slice of pizza together.
Oh my God, she's practically famous.
Yeah, so I only know that because of my aunt, but that is a fact. And then I didn't do everybody, but I feel like I had to finish with Creed. So I didn't know that Creed's real name is Creed Bratton. Did you know that?
Yeah, he's from the band, The Grassroots.
The Grassroots?
Yeah, they were pretty big.
A lot of them, not a lot of them, but like Phyllis's real name is Phyllis.
Yeah,
Angela's real name is Angela. Yeah, Creed's real name's Creed. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I didn't know that.
Well, most of them were casts. They were like, so Phyllis, the woman Phyllis was a casting agent for the show. She was like, that was what she did for a living for years before she was on this. And when they were casting, they were like secretly in love with her for that role and didn't tell her. So they were just like, on the last day of casting, they were like, and we have one more role we need to fill. And they gave her the job.
Oh, that's
like,
pretty
really
awesome.
Yeah. She's like and I think she still is a casting agent, even though she now obviously does like voice work and stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, Creed's in the Grassroots, which was a pretty, in my opinion, pretty big band.
Yeah. From
the 60s.
I wrote my notes. Creed's still just being Creed.
He is. He's really weird in real life, I hear.
Pretty low key. And he appeared in Grace and Frankie and an indie film called Terry.
And apparently he ad-libbed like 95% of what he said on the show.
That's not surprising.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And it was actually one more cool fact. They literally would make them all sit at the desk for an hour every day at their desks.
Really?
Like, and just sit there and like pretend to do work. I feel like that would be my biggest nightmare come to life.
Yes.
Because
actually,
it's like,
I
that's
pretend
what
to
I
do
do
work
in real
every
life.
day of my life. So
right, that's what I said. Like, I
Yeah.
have to do it in real life. I don't want to do it like acting. Do it.
I know. There's just like this one meme that's like, it's like when you're not working and your boss walks by and it's just like this person typing and then it shoots to the screen and it's just like a bunch of jumbled up letters. I'm like, wow, I can actually relate to that.
True story.
But before we wrap it up, Marissa, I do know that you have 2 of your own podcasts. Do you want to talk a little bit about that and give people a little idea of what they're about?
Yeah. So thank you so much for having me on. It's so much fun to talk about something I love other than horror. It always feels like a fun break. But yeah, you can definitely listen to us on Jersey Ghouls. We are a feminist comedy-ish podcast about horror movies. And if you are interested in more academic, more serious looks at horror and how they affect society and culture, check out Mise-En-Scream. That's my other podcast that I do. And actually keep an eye at jerseyghouls.com because our production company is growing. We have some kind of cool stuff coming up the ranks and we're really excited to share with everybody. So yeah, check us out. Thank you.
Yes. Awesome. Everybody check it out. You can listen to Marissa every day and become besties with her, like how I am when I listen to podcast people. Like I'm like, oh, we're friends. They don't know, but we're friends.
Oh, me too. In my head, I'm imaginary friends with most people. Like in my head, the people of the office are my best friends.
Yes, agreed. Totally agreed. So that about wraps it up. Thank you again, Marissa, for joining us. Thank you everybody for listening, and tune in next week for another episode.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network. You're listening to the Geekscape Network.